This is a presentation from the Supernaut Network.
Welcome to the Imaginarium, the show where art, technology, and creativity intersect and combine to forge a conversation that can only be found in the Imaginarium. I'm your host, Scott Colbert, and today's guest is actor, producer, architect, interior designer, jewelry creator, and star of the upcoming movie Three Holes and a Smoking Gun, James Wilder. Welcome to the show, James.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Did I leave anything out? I think I pretty much...
Gee, well... You know, I started as a street performer, actually. I actually started up in the Bay Area of San Francisco at about the age of, I think, probably 10 or 11, as a fire eater and a one-man show, which eventually turned into juggling 3 running chainsaws. But I usually leave that out of the story.
I read that on IMDb, and I was actually going to ask you about that. How does one just wake up one morning and decide, you know what? I want to eat fire and juggle chainsaws. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, it's a good question. You know, it doesn't start with chainsaws. Just like somebody wants to race cars, they don't start with a Formula One, so to speak. What happened was my schooling was sort of an advanced learning institution, an all-boy parochial school in Pacific Heights of San Francisco, very formal, very structured, suit and tie. The area of that Bay Area was very bohemian in sort of the post-Haight-Ashbury period. So it was a real reciprocal experience coming out of an advanced learning institution and then seeing hippies and colors and the Beatles and all the free expression that was up there. So obviously as a young kid, it sparks your curiosity. And I noticed there were street performers in the Fisherman's Wharf, peppered all throughout San Francisco. And I heard them playing Beatles songs. I didn't know any better. I thought, wow, that's an amazing... Did you write that? And they said, yeah, I wrote this. I go, you're a genius. This is amazing. I can't believe you're playing here in the street. That's the best song I've ever heard in my life. They obviously thought it was wildly funny. And finally, they kind of let me in on the joke. And I started befriending and vice versa, and kind of came up with my own sort of one-man show. I thought it was sort of futile to try to compete with music because they were already doing it, and I tried to think of something that would be different that I hadn't seen out in that performing area. And there was Shields and Yarnell. There's Whitney Brown, who eventually became writer and host of Saturday Night Live, and many people that kind of came out of that area and started as street performers and emerged into, in my opinion, major artists in really cool different functions. So I came up with something because I was a big fan of Houdini. Houdini had this, was I think what I consider the first international superstar, mainly because he didn't use words. So everything he did that was visual could be understood everywhere on the planet. And I thought, wow, that's a great sort of concept, doing something that's visual that isn't limited to English, since tourists that came to that area also were from all different parts of the world. And I started with fire eating and street magic, and worked in like some tightrope and chain escapes. And I found that when I was doing the magic, it watered down everything else I was doing, because everybody thought what I was doing, it was fake fire, fake knives that I was juggling. So I just eliminated the street magic and kind of did this one-man daredevil show that was really, I don't know, it was really, I think it was enraptured merely because I was under 4 feet tall and a little kid. Seeing a little kid being a daredevil, you think for sure he's going to kill himself. So that was sort of the origin, germinating seed of that whole, I guess, my beginning of show business, if you will.
Now, you actually performed at probably some of the greatest venues in the world in Paris, at the Lido and the Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge. Well, after I'd been doing this in that area for about probably 3 years, I think that was 13 or 14, an international booking agent decided to offer me a contract in the Moulin Rouge in Vienna. My mom, being Parisienne, Europeans tend to let their kids go out and feel safe. They don't put them in little hockey helmets with airbags in their strollers. The Europeans are a little bit more hands off their children. And I think, the intercontinental Europe is a little bit of a safer place also. And so she had no problem with me going to Paris because she's from Paris and going to the Moulin Rouge. And I went there solo, and I was performing there. And, it was amazing. It was really, really interesting and really amazing. And, went from Vienna then to Paris and kind of traveled all over the world doing correspondence study with this advanced learning institution.
That had to have been an incredible experience for kids your age. I mean, that's something that very few people get a chance to do.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think so. And it gave me a very good, complex diversity between formal education and real life in the world, all over the world. So it gave me a really good sense of sociology and psychology and culture, which later, as an actor, I think the primary function is to be able to fill the character's psyche. Not necessarily the haircut and the clothes, but to get into that person's psyche about their intention on life and decisions, which is, eventually revealed in some sort of, cinematic venture. You're in a slice of life. How do they perceive it? And I think being so young and being immersed into so many different cultural backgrounds, from street to black tie formal in the Moulin Rouge in Paris, it gave me a lot of variation. And I think one of the projects I think you had mentioned earlier that you liked was called Prey of the Chameleon. It gave me a very chameleon-esque point of lifestyle, because I've always believed, when in Rome, live as the Romans do. So when you're 4 feet tall and you're living by yourself in a foreign country, you're not out there trying to change everybody else. You're trying to assimilate with the group.
Did that give you a good background for when you did Sugar Babies on Broadway?
When I did Sugar Babies on Broadway, it was with that one-man show. So it wasn't so much as an actor, per se. That was a really vaudevillian experience with the late legendary Mickey Rooney, which was really, really cool working with him.
I actually saw that on Broadway.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. Thanks. It was a really amazing experience to be able to be part of that show. I'm glad you enjoyed it. That's great. That makes me very happy. Sugar
Babies, where you did work with Mickey Rooney and Ann Miller, and what an incredible experience.
It really was. And I'm heading there day after tomorrow back to New York, because this latest movie, Three Holes in a Smoking Gun, is in the official selection of the Winter Manhattan Film Festival there. So it's nice to go back under a completely different faction of, instead of the Broadway boards, a cinematic experience. And it's really nice to go back there now with something else.
You're also going back there in March to receive the Independent Spirit Award.
I know. Can you believe it? It's just like, my God.
How amazing is that?
Yeah, it's really amazing. What's also amazing is the last person to receive that award last year was Laura Dern, who was nominated this year for an Academy Award. And she and I used to study together, the Loft Studio here in Los Angeles. That's how far back we go, before her and I had ever did any professional acting. So, wow, it's mind-blowing.
Is there a sense of, I don't want to say that you made it, because you've been a name for a long time, but like a sense of accomplishment, I suppose, or? Yeah,
I know exactly. It's a really sort of, it's a very mercurial statement when one says, have you made it? Because maybe you have received all kind, like Birdman has made $35 million and won every category practically. Where Sniper, also a great film, has made almost 10 times, almost a third of $1 billion. I wouldn't say was overlooked, but didn't win any awards. And so I thought the director said very aptly so for Birdman that how do you really compare great cinematic experiences to say who won? They're like he didn't say this, but this is what I would say for him. They're like a thumb. Everybody has a thumb, but the thumbprint is so uniquely individual that there are no two that are alike. So it's very hard to say that an apple is tastier than an orange. They're all fruit, but, we say the apple is better than the orange or the watermelon. It's a difficult thing. So when you say, have you made it, it certainly is nice if you can make a living as an actor and then also get validated by your peers. That certainly feels completely like a full experience to me. I think answering your question is yes, I do feel like I've made it for my interpretation of making it. I've never had my eye on becoming a superstar, because I think the lifestyle becomes very much in a bubble and very myopic, and you're not really very free at that point, because if the fans go crazy, that would sort of be a little overwhelming, I think, to me.
Well, but you also do a lot of things outside of acting, too. I mean, as I mentioned in the introduction, you designed your own home, if I read correctly.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that started from when I was a kid. The first person that inspired me as a performer was Whitney Brown, who was living in a converted milk truck. And he was performing at Ghirardelli Square, and he was, making hundreds of dollars a day as this performer, which was a ton of money going back that far. I just thought a kid that was dressed in a, royal blue wool suit with a tie, learning pre-calculus. Here's this performer living in a converted milk truck, and the audience is laughing and applauding and giving him money. I just thought, oh my God, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. So I emulated that lifestyle, so to speak, and kind of put together my own one-man show. And by the time I was 16, did a miniaturized version of that. I customized a van and made this thing like a mobile, a really cool custom van, had a motorcycle, dirt bike on the front, and had a stage on the roof, and it was, a really cool living space. I just had that aesthetic for form and function. It had really cool styling and form, but also had really efficient function. And as I moved on, I started building custom cars and custom motorcycles because I've always had motorcycles pretty much all my life. And I realized that the big stage would be to do it with an architectural structure. I decided to build a house and, from the ground up, and do it completely free-form expression style where every room was a completely different experience. Like one room is like a French Moroccan room, and the other room may be extremely modern, contemporary. So when I was putting the house together, the people that were seeing it start to unfold or take shape said, wow, I hope you never try to sell this house. I said, why? They said, because nobody will buy it. I said, oh, geez. So conversely, later down the road, the last couple of years, I've won awards with these several houses that I've built that are all right next door to each other, from VRBO and HGTV actually put me in the best three designed houses in Los Angeles, right next with Frank Lloyd Wright, who is my all-time mentor. I worship his dynamic expression through architecture and lifestyle. So they're kind of like lifestyle retreats. That's what I've tried to jump into. And I think that starts from originally being what I would call a tactile artist, an artist that is dealing with actual objects and things. With a street show, you have what we would commonly refer to as props, and these props are part of the magic of the show. Then later as an actor, it becomes very cerebral and very, much more intellectual in breaking down the psyche of a character and using other people's contributions as far as their words and, camera angles and lighting, and there's other actors involved. It isn't a one-man show anymore. It's a group effort. And so getting back into building a structure becomes more singular, where I'm kind of doing it in a sense for me. And if I don't like it, guess what? I'm stuck with it because I'm the audience for it.
Yeah. Well, it's almost a blueprint for acting, building the structure for the character. At the end of the day, once it's on film, you're stuck with the performance, whether you like it or not.
Right. Yeah, very true, very true.
I want to ask you about a movie that you did, Murder One, where you played the killer, Carl Isaacs.
That was very interesting. I was in Canada, in a place called Mont-Tremblant, filming a movie I did not like, but I was early in my acting career, so it was a lead in a movie. I took it, and I was reading a book. The book was called Brothers in Blood, and it was a novel about one brother gets his other two brothers involved into a serial killing, and I thought this book was fascinating, not because I'm obsessed with serial killing, but just the psyche of the character and the love between the brothers. It was just a very involved, complex scenario. And I finished that movie and I always remembered that book. And I went and I read a script of a different title, and I said, this seems like it was adapted from the book Brothers in Blood. And when I went in for the reading, it was a Miramax movie. Miramax makes such quality, amazing projects. I asked the director, I said, was this adapted from the book Brothers in Blood? And he said, yes. He goes, actually it was. I ended up getting the movie, not because I knew the book, but I was right for the part. That movie, prior to going in, early in my career, I really wanted to try to, I don't have any reference point for somebody that cold-bloodedly murders someone, so I arranged through the distributor and the director and the writer if I could meet the actual guy who sat on death row in a level 6 facility, Regional State Penitentiary. And he agreed to it, and I flew out there and sat down with this guy for about 4 hours and really got into his head. It was very interesting, and it was a really nice project as an actor. Not a nice story, certainly. Horrible, tragic experience, but those are projects that an actor really has a chance to really show himself.
How do you prepare yourself for meeting somebody like that? I mean, you're sitting across from somebody who's had a hand in murdering people. Is it difficult to be objective about the conversation you're having with him?
Definitely. He was gaming me. It was all about gaming. I think he looked at this opportunity of this movie to possibly be played that the character was sympathetic, that it may affect his ability for probation or whatnot. I clearly got that, and so I brought him cigarettes. And they asked me, do I want to have this meeting with him one-on-one or with an armed guard in the room? And I said, I'd prefer it one-on-one. Say, well, he'll have to agree to it because he's going to have to be foot locked down with ankle bracelets to, a concrete little loop in the floor. So he was locked down, which I guess he was sort of used to. He didn't have any problem with it. When I came in the room, he was very cordial and, very friendly. And I brought a couple packs of cigarettes, and I said, you mind if I smoke? He said, no. And I said, do you smoke? He goes, yeah. I said, here, I'll brought you a couple packs of cigarettes. And he said, oh, I can't take those. And I said, why not? And he said, well, it's against the rules. And I said, you're on death row. I said, what rules could there possibly be? What are they going to do to you further from here? And I could see his expression turning, in his eyes of like, this isn't how he was intending for it to go. He was, gaming me to show me that he's this, really straight shooter that doesn't even want to break the rules for cigarettes because I'm not that kind of guy. And that's where I saw the transition in the space, and I really got what his transition space was. And that was really all that I needed for myself, because it's not about pulling the trigger. It's like, what gets you to pull the trigger that offends you so much that you need to take someone's life. And I had done that. Had he had a gun, I think he would have shot me. You know what I mean? But, obviously you're talking to me, so he didn't. And it was, so it was a very interesting experience.
let's go into your newest movie, Three Holes in a Smoking Gun, where you're not quite a serial killer, but you do have a bit of a dark side in that movie. And
yeah, sorry, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I saw a screener of that, and I just want to say I thought you were fantastic in it.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. Yeah, it sounds very Guy Ritchie, Three Holes in a Smoking Gun.
Yeah.
It's not. The title sort of originates from Three Holes in a Smoking Gun, three holes in a script, because he's a script writer. And he now is a ghostwriter, and this is a guy that had it all in Hollywood. He was a writer that was, heralded as a great writer, and then just from abusing his privileges, so to speak, his own demise had, completely diminished him to where he was just ousted from, I don't want to say the Hollywood royalty, but, that inner circle that once you mess up in a way that becomes public, people don't want anything to do with you because you're poison. So he leaves to try to reinvent himself by going to New York and teaching a writing class so that he can be what they call in this business a ghostwriter, where he's actually writing the script, but he's using someone else's name. And somewhere in that scenario of what he's trying to do, a young writer comes to him with the best script that my character has ever read, but can't believe it came from this person. And this is where the story starts to jump and take shape, and it's really interesting. So in the playing of that character, you have to see a really successful, dynamic man, but not see that anymore. See that the fractured, distraught remnants of a successful person. So it's a little difficult to play that, because it's easy to play a homeless guy, but it's difficult to say, that homeless guy used to be Donald Trump, and I can see that. That's where it's a little bit difficult, to play the reciprocal expression. A winner that's now a loser that has the chance to be a winner again. Yeah, and there's a myriad of different sort of playing two things at one time, which is also really fun to do as an actor and get the opportunity to do that and not be considered putting, too much into the emotional content of the character. So, it was really a fun project. I really enjoyed doing it. Hard work. It was shooting in New York, where I'm leaving in a few days, and the same temperature. It was, winter time in the snow and a claustrophobic set, because that was our set. And that was almost our entire film shoot in that setting.
And your co-star in that, Zahir Khan, who was also the producer for it, that was his first film role. He did a really amazing job. How is that working with somebody who's never done a film before for you? Is that difficult?
It's a really good question. I think if that part that they have is very close to their makeup, I believe very much in reactive acting. That, every reaction is caused initially from an action. To me, actors that listen and react off what's being said, as opposed to just making arbitrary choices, or here I'm going to do this and there I'm going to do that. It's different. In tennis, obviously you're trying to hit the ball so the opponent can't hit it back. And somewhat in life too, with characters that are in conflict, they're trying to misdirect you and mislead you so that they can win that debate or argument or choice or conflict, whatever's going on. So he was very good at listening, and vice versa. I wanted to be a good listener for him, so he felt that I was very involved. And I think it was it's a very good combination now.
You definitely have good chemistry with him, that's for sure. And
it was nice.
But what I liked about it was there was almost a Waiting for Godot feel to it. There's a particular producer that you frequently reference, who had produced one of your screenplays in the movie, and for me that was almost the Godot character.
That's great.
You keep talking about him, but you never really get to see him.
Right.
And it's a great cat and mouse movie.
Yeah, that's what was really fun about it. I agree. It is very much this third character that you don't really see is such an integral part of it. He's brought up continually through reference, and you feel that maybe you will, that personal step forward. They don't, but yet they're completely there the entire time with, in the story with the people.
I know you have a busy schedule today, so I'm going to ask one final question that I usually ask, which is, what advice do you have for somebody just starting out in the business?
The advice I would have is ask yourself if you're in it for the right reasons. If, the average earning income of an actor with a SAG card, I think is under $5,000 a year. And that's with everybody rolled in, all the $20 million players. When I say all of them, I think there's maybe 5. So if it's something you want to do, definitely try it and see that that's what you want to do. If it's something you're doing for fame and fortune, then I guess look at the statistics, because I think fame and fortune can come from much easier vocational skills than being an actor or writer or director. Hopefully it's a blend. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be appreciated in a public way or wanting to have people see you perform. It's just that it's very competitive, very difficult. So I would say go after it, but just look at all the dynamics that are involved with it that accompany that world as a lifestyle. That's why for myself, I didn't really want to, not that I know that I would, but become a major, major star where now I can't really live in the real world. Everything has to be sneaking in here and sneaking out of there. I still love the world so much, and I think the world is a stage. I picked the gradient, and I think I hit that gradient for myself. So I think those are just questions to ask. I think go for it. I mean, I think it's an amazing thing. Just make sure that you're going after it for a real purpose, as opposed to just personal validation.
That's some good advice. Thanks for coming on, James. I really enjoyed it. It's been a good conversation.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
And we'll have links on the show page where you can find out more about James's work and his new movie. And if you enjoy the Imaginarium, check out our other shows in the Supernauts Network at thesupernauts.com. And until next time, may all your journeys be filled with pure imagination. Welcome to the Imaginarium, the show where art, technology, and creativity intersect and combine to forge a conversation that can only be found in the Imaginarium. I'm your host, Scott Colbert, and today's guest, Michael Gossard, is the lead singer, guitarist for Acidic, the hardest-working indie rock band in Southern California. So welcome to the show, Mike.
Hey, thanks for having me on, man. It's good to see you, or hear you.
Yeah, you don't want to see me. Hearing is bad enough. And I just feel like I should start this interview by putting my fist in the air and yelling out, "Fuck yeah."
Oh, my God. Well, you know what? Internet radio, do what you please. But yeah, that's been a tradition of ours for a long time.
Yeah, I have to say, when I was approached about you being on the show, I had to check out all your music, and I was really impressed. I like it. Oh, wow.
Thank you very much, man. Yeah, and to me it really doesn't matter in terms of demographics, If I like music, I'm going to like it,
Yeah. So
but I appreciate that. We work hard on it.
Why don't you give us a little bit of a background on yourself? I know it's kind of a cliched question, but it always helps for the audience who may not be familiar with this.
Oh, it's cool. So, yeah, we started the band back in 2007. We're called Acidic. We're from Los Angeles, Santa Monica to be exact, for Beach Bum. We started playing some shows, and then tours came along. We've been touring since 2010, and we're about to release our, oh, goodness gracious, I think it's our 5th record. So, we've just been turning and burning. And it's going to be called Creatures. It's going to come out a little bit later this year. Life couldn't be better, man. We're on our way right now to Vegas to play a show at, I think it's Mandalay Bay. But we got, our band consists of 4 members. It consists of a guy named Michael Gossard. That's me. I'm the lead singer and guitar player. And then we got Matt Whitaker on drums. And then we have Max Myrick on bass and Josh Bennett on guitar. And we're a unit. And, we do everything we can together. And we've we turn and burn and we have a lot of fun. That's pretty much all you need to know. I think that I could say a bunch of those things of our various interests are this, but if you want to really know about us, just come to a show, hang out. We hang out all the time.
One of the things that impressed me is I read that you started playing guitar when you were 3.
Yeah, I did. I've been playing ever since I can remember, and music's just it's just been in my blood, and I couldn't really imagine doing anything different. I love it. I absolutely love it. I will absolutely just continue to do music for the rest of my life.
And you started Acidic when you were 14.
Let's see. Yeah, when I was 14, I started it, and we were playing some shows by the time I was 16. And, we really just never stopped. We never turned back, and it's been a whole lot of fun, too.
How would you describe your music?
I would describe our music, I'm tempted to say, the typical, we're alternative rock, this and that. Our music it sounds like us. It's a little bit of everything we grew up listening to and everything we like. It's a little bit of rock, it's a little bit of pop, a little bit of, there's even, on our new album, there's a couple songs that are based on, hip-hop beats. So we don't discriminate in terms of sound. We love everything.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I was impressed by as I was listening to all of your albums, is you can hear little bits of other bands. Like I can hear a little bit of Green Day. I can hear a little bit of the Beatles. I can hear a little bit of even early Jane's Addiction. But, it all still sounds like you. You have a very approachable sound.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, we try to do that. One thing that's different about us is we didn't necessarily start out in any scene. A lot of bands start off in a particular scene, whether it's, the rock scene or the metal scene. We've always done our own thing. And I think that served us very well in our history. I mean, that's us, man. Like, we're just going to do our own thing, and that's what we're going to do. Yeah, and our new album, Creatures, is going to be just a very drastic departure from, I wouldn't say drastic, it's a departure from anything we've done thus far. It's different. It's, it's louder, it's softer, it's everything in between, and I could not be more excited for us. This new album that's about to come out shows so much growth, and it's so much above anything we've ever done that I can't stop talking about it,
Are you worried about maybe putting off some of your longtime fans who may not be ready for drastic change?
Man, not really, because I think drastic is too big of a word. I can tell you this, though. We've always made music that we like playing, and we're going to continue to do that because at the end of the day, we want to be able to go and play these songs and be proud and have a good time playing. And, most of our fans are fans of us, not the music. I'm not saying they don't like the music. In fact, to the contrary, they love the music. But most of our fans are bigger fans of the band as people and what we do and, the charity events we get into and how we're always trying to be of service to the community and how we don't act like big rock stars and just, hang out in the dressing room and walk out and be like, oh, yeah, you're here, buy stuff, goodbye. That we treat people like they're friends because that's what they are. So I don't think that'll be an issue. And if it is, well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah, that's one of the things that impressed me is you do a lot of charity work, and that's not something that you associate with rock bands.
No, typically what I would associate a rock band with is staying up way too late and drinking too much Jägermeister, but we don't really do that. The guys have had their crazier moments over the years, but I'm all about giving back, and, we've had some interesting stories. Most people who, have followed the band know our drummer's a cancer survivor, and we take that very seriously, and so we've, over the years, done some Leukemia and Lymphoma Society events, and, we just spend a lot of time thinking about how we're going to give back. I think in February we're doing an undie run for the Childhood Tumor Foundation or something like that. And I'm not even joking with you. I think that is seriously happening. And it's naturally I've been worried about the show that's coming up, so I haven't been able to be involved in that. But our guitar player Josh has been taking the lead on that. And what we're going to do is we're going to get nearly naked and run a solid mile for some kids who have some tumors. We're going to try to make them a little bit of money for their foundation. That's what we do. We're all about that. the music's fun, and that's what, being in a band's all about. I got to tell you, a life of no service is a dead life to me, man.
Absolutely, I agree with that 100%. And I really commend you and the other guys in the band for doing that.
Well, I appreciate that, man. We're totally not doing it for publicity. We're just doing it, and that's how it is. That's how the best things happen, is people just do it because it's the right thing to do.
You guys really do seem to, you're as much fans of music as you are making music, and it really shows in some of the stage shows that I've seen on YouTube. How do you keep up that energy?
Yeah, keeping up the energy, that can be a little complicated. We do what we do. Yeah, that's it. We walk on stage and we have fun. And when we're not feeling, we're not perfect. Some nights we're not going to feel it as much, and that's okay. We gotta, suit up and show up. This is what we do. We've said we wanted to do this. That's just what we're going to do.
How does the songwriting process work? Do you do most of the songwriting, or does everybody chip in on it?
We have, we are fairly collaborative, but over the course of the years, it is true that I have done a majority of the songwriting, not because of a lack of talent as far as the other band members are concerned. It's just happened that way. We have very talented people in the band. But just on this new album, there's a song that everybody in the band has a collaborative credit on, and I'm very proud of that. The best songs we've written are where everybody pitches in. That's how it seems to happen.
You all really seem to gel on stage, and I have to say, one of the things that really impresses me is the rhythm section. Max and Matt are absolutely amazing.
Yeah, they have some fun. They're good guys, and they fool around, and they really know each other's pockets and where that's going to lie. I'm very lucky to have them. And yeah, they kill it. They go up there and they rock out.
My musical ability is 0 to none. I've always loved drums, and you've got a real distinct sound with Matt on drums. It just elevates the music.
Oh yeah, totally. Matt has got this particular way of delivering the beat that I haven't heard anybody else be able to do, and that's amazing.
No, because I listen to it and I just think, holy mackerel! That's not quite what I say, but close enough to it.
Holy mackerel!
Yeah, because I listen to a lot of some of the old stuff, some of the classic drummers like Bill Bruford and Terry Bozzio and a bunch of others. And, he just seems to be right up there with them. It's amazing.
And Matt, he's actually sitting in front of me. Matt, how do you think you compare to Terry Bozzio? He just said, he blows my shit out of the water. Yeah, humble as always.
Little humility is always good, but you can tell him that I think he's right up there with the best of them.
And Matt, he thinks that you're right up there with the best of them. He says, "Well, put it too. He's eating a burrito right now."
Well, that
yeah,
must be burrito day.
Our day, by the way, the course of our day is burritos and watching movies and playing music. And right now we're watching Harry Potter Part 7.
It was mostly Matt.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, it must be burrito day. Guy I interviewed earlier this morning was eating a burrito too. So
every day is burrito day, man.
Well, hey, they're cheap and they're tasty, and there's
man.
no shortage of burrito stands in LA either. So you pretty much have.
No, you show me a burrito stand, I'll show you a future trip to that.
It's been almost a little over a year since, or 2 years since you put out your last album.
Yeah, we like to know what we're talking about and what we're thinking about before we put anything out. We could put out an album every 6 months, there are a lot of bands who do that, and kudos to them. We spend a lot of time, working it so it's absolutely perfect. And that's what we've been doing on this last album. And it's really come out fantastic. I think this is the best piece of work we've ever done.
What makes it so different from the other work that you've done? That's probably hard to answer without giving anything away.
The pre-production was different. I spent a year in my studio. I run a studio, just doing the synths and getting the vocal tracks, and then we went into the studio we usually record at and rocked out the guitars, and then it just came together. We record like the proper recording process in terms of just, you know, the being in the studio and having the band there took about a week. It was kind of incredible.
Wow, that does sound incredible.
Oh yeah.
And you released a little 20-second snippet on SoundCloud.
Oh yeah. Oh, we tend to do that. I like it, by the way. I think that it's I like SoundCloud. That's what I'm trying to say. I like SoundCloud. It's really convenient. I mean, it's. I've been hard pressed to find a medium that's convenient. That's convenient for little like blog type audio items.
With digital being so prevalent anymore, is it harder to make a living with everything being digital as opposed to, you know, back just a few years ago when it was just CDs?
Yeah, you know, it's changed. I get asked this question all the time, and you know what? This is the answer. The music industry has changed. And it hasn't changed for the better or for the worse. It's just changed. Things aren't the same as they used to be. And initially that's going to freak a lot of people out. But what's happened is a whole new plane has been opened up. And what happened historically when a big new frontiers opened up is innovation. And we've seen that. And innovation has happened. So yeah, where people would make all their money off record sales and then go out on the road for fun. Now we go on the road to make our money, and record sales are just for fun. Or, you know, we give away our stuff to our fans for a little bit less, or, you know, whatever it is, you know. But things really aren't bad in the music industry, in my opinion. I hear a lot of people say that, you know, oh, things are so unbearable, and whatever, you know, the people are saying, and, you know, I happen to disagree. I think it's just different, and it's just wide open for the taking, and the people who are going to really work it are the people who are going to see the benefit.
You do a lot with social media. How important is that in keeping your fan base together?
Oh, it's vital. You know, everybody wants to see the pictures of what you're doing and hear the little bits of this and the little bits of that. Without a proper social media following, I think it's really hard for a band to do anything these days. But social media, if we go back and analyze really what that is, you know, it's just media in any form reaching society. And that's been around for as long as mailing lists have existed. So in effect, nothing's really changed with that. Yeah, the platform of social media is no longer paper and ink, you know, it's no longer a written mailing list that goes out to fans. It's now an email list, but it's the same concept. That hasn't changed too much in terms of, you know, being vital to projects, but it's just different now.
Do you think it's better now, or is it easier to reach out than it was at one time?
You know, I'm no authority on this. This is one man's opinion. You know, my opinion isn't the end-all be-all. I'll say this. I am not well equipped to say that it's better or worse because I was not trying to make it as a member of a band back in the 90s or back in the 80s. So I can't give you an honest, first-hand, experience-based opinion based on that. I can tell you that I've seen a lot of amazing people around the country, and I've seen a lot of amazing happen. And the one thing that seems to be the constant is that hard work will out.
Who's some of the musicians that you look up to?
You know, I look up to everybody from Robert Johnson back in the old River Blues days to Green Day. I love what they've done with their career. Financial model, I really look up to Tech Nine. You know, that guy just really has his financial model on lock. But then, you know, I love all these new bands. You know, a band that I've really been listening to lately has been Walk the Moon. You know, I love their stuff. And I'm also a big fan of the country music. You know, I love what they do. The lyrics are, well, in certain styles of country music, the lyrics are just really honest. And I appreciate that honesty.
Well, and you can hear a little bit of that country flavor in some of your songs.
I've seen the down home plays. I'm with you.
Now, you recorded Red Strata twice on your albums.
Oh, yeah, we recorded Strataran twice because we wanted to do it twice, you know? I mean, the first one we did it, we loved it, but then our first producer came into picture and he was like, I think we can make this amazing. It's like, all right, who am I to say no? Let's do it. Let's make it amazing.
And it certainly is. It's probably one of my favorite songs that she does.
Thank you, Ned. Thank you. We're passing, we're on the way to Vegas now. We're passing an area called MacArthur Park. And for everybody who's listening, this is where everybody bought their first fake ID.
Oh, no, nobody would buy a fake ID.
Nobody. Literally, though, it's like you step out of the car, walk up to somebody, and somebody will walk up to you. Fake ID? Yeah, yes, actually, that's why we came down here. How did you know?
Speaking of fake IDs and being underage, that had to have been a little difficult trying to play gigs when you were underage.
It was what it was. It's over now. We'll never have to do that again, but yeah, there were some challenges that came with it for sure. But thank God that's over.
Once they remember the term duty.
I don't want to keep you since you're on your way to Vegas, but I appreciate your time, Mike.
God, thank you very, very much, man. I've been very grateful to be on the air with you right now. Let's not wait too long to do this again.
Absolutely. After your new album comes out, come back on and we'll talk about it.
Of course. All right, thank you very much, Scott.
Thanks, Mike. And we'll have links on the show page where you can find out more about his work and the band Acidic. And if you enjoy the Imaginarium, check out our other shows on the Supernauts Network at thesupernauts.com. And until next time, may all your journeys be filled with pure imagination.